Larry David is back in the news again.
That's right. The co-creator of Seinfeld has returned to his contentious ways, this time in the retail arena. Here's NBC's Josh Mankiewicz with more.
Look, we've all experienced bad service before, but for most of us, there's not much you can do about it. Maybe you write a negative Yelp review, or maybe you just don't go back to the place. But Larry David has chosen a different path. This is Mocha Joe's, a small coffee shop serving the west side of Los Angeles. And this is Latte Larry's. Why two coffee shops right next to each other? We went to the man himself for answers.
I was wrong. I was mistreated. I ordered a cup of coffee next door, this Mocha Joe's, and Josh, the coffee is cold. I politely asked for another cup of coffee. He banned me from the store. I couldn't live with it.
So you're operating this place just out of spite?
Yeah, it's a spite store.
I called him an old bald nut. I mean, I copped to that. But the guy comes in here, complains about the tables, complains about the coffee.
Do you have wobbly tables?
One or two, but what's the big deal? You put your foot on it. Nobody else is complaining.
If he apologized, would you get out of the coffee business?
If it was a deep, heartfelt apology with maybe a little tear. Larry, my scones are like muffins. That would have to be included, of course.
Okay, Larry says that if you would just apologize, he could get out of business.
Apologize? Me? Never. A ban is a ban.
You ever think that maybe the problem is you were complaining too much?
I don't like to tear people down. I want to help. Look, this pocket square you got going there. It looks out of place. That's for some English dandy. It's not for a journalist.
You don't think that's kind of insulting?
No, not in the least. Hey, if you told me you didn't like my jacket or something, well, I wouldn't care.
Actually, I really don't like your jacket.
Oh, is that so?
And while Larry was the first to open a spite store, he's since started a trend here in Hollywood, with other celebrities following suit, like Jonah Hill, who's now operating a spite deli.
So, I used to go to Irv's Deli right next door 2-3 times a week, and I found a hair in my sandwich.
Not your hair?
No, this was a gray hair. It wasn't my hair. And this guy, Irv's, going, "Oh, it's yours." And I'm like, what can I do? I can't sleep. I'm taking 4 or 5 Ambien to get to sleep because all I see is this guy, Irv's face.
So what changed?
What changed was I had seen Latte Larry's. The idea of a spite store is such a brilliant idea. I'm gonna open a spite deli.
What started off with spite has now become a passion project.
Thanks for dining with us. $3?
And you're turning down acting and directing gigs for this.
What's left for me in Hollywood? What, win some award or something, Anytime I see a customer walk in here that used to go to Irv's, it's like my own tiny little human Oscar walking in here.
So this is your life now?
I might actually open a spite deli out in New York. There was a spot on 42nd Street that was a bit disrespectful that I'm looking at taking out.
Jonah Hill is not the only celebrity with spite on his mind. This is Ray's Exotic Birds, and this is Sean's. It's become the place to get a macaw or a hummingbird nester.
I had always wanted a talking bird, so I go to Ray, just next door, and he sells me the bird. And the bird doesn't talk, just sort of grunts. So I go back to return it. He says, no returns. I said, bullshit. Because he knew it was a mute bird. And I'm on a kind of slow burn, not knowing quite what to do. And Larry opens up the coffee place, and it was like ding, ding, ding. Sean's Exotic Birds. Put Ray right out of business. Here, this is a hyacinth macaw from Brazil. Would you like to hold it?
Sure. Does all the time you're spending here take away from, acting?
I was never a very zen sort of personality, but I find myself very, very calm now. I think, it's the birds.
Shut up! So the next time you see two similar stores right next to each other, there's a pretty good chance one of them's doing it out of spite. Savannah and Hoda, back to you.